So normally I stray away from making pickup videos like this one in favor of making quick, concise, and informative sneaker reviews. But I'm always experimenting with new video ideas, and I feel like this recent bulk buy is a good topic, especially considering the popularity of SB Dunks right now. But before getting into the actual deal, I just want to plug my Instagram real quick. I pick up a bunch of sneakers, most of which are one-off pickups. And actually, if you check out my Instagram story, or there's a highlight on my Instagram, I tend to post my pickups as soon as they come in, way before these YouTube videos go live, so be sure to follow me there. Also, while I'm shamelessly asking for things, it'd be great if you guys could drop a like on the video. It only takes a second and goes a long way in growing the channel, so thanks in advance. But finally getting to it, I picked up these 3 pairs of shoes right here. And if you couldn't tell by the taped boxes, or even just the title of the video, you'll know that they're SB Dunks. In total, I paid $300 shipped for all 3 pairs. For those of you that are into dunks, maybe you could find this to be a really good deal. And then conversely, those of you that aren't into dunks and haven't fed into the hype, you may think I got ripped off. In any case, I'll explain why I see both sides and ultimately what I think. But before getting into each individual pair, just want to make a few things clear. All are from 2013, tape box era for those of you that are into SBs, and they're all Dunk High Pros, so not premiums. Oddly enough, these 3 were also released within months of each other in 2013. There's nothing exclusive about them, they're just GR colorways to be had at skate shops and stores with SB accounts back in the day. All are size 9.5 and gently worn, so that's pretty much it. Let's get into it. Starting off the haul here, we have our first pair of Dunk Highs in the Tropical Teal, University Gold, and White colorway. So just given the colorway, these are often referred to as the Tropical Teal Dunks. Some people call these the UCLAs, which I kind of see. I find the blue that the UCLA Bruins use is a little deeper than this. This teal is a bit bright, but I sort of see the connection. So I actually saw this pair a few months ago on Index's website. If you guys don't know what Index is, it's a shop based out in Portland. And I saw them for $100 in pretty much the same condition. I passed on them at the time, and not that I regretted it, but it was funny to me that I stumbled upon them at the same price essentially in this deal. So if you couldn't tell by the colorway, these are very bright, very loud, they definitely pop. So they were initially released in July 2013, and going with the times and the season, this is definitely fitting. This is definitely a summer shoe with the overall brighter colors. I think you're definitely breaking some necks in the summer. Would probably hold off on wearing these in the colder, drearier seasons here in the Northeast. So I'll be honest, I didn't know too much about these just because there wasn't a whole lot to know about them. These came out as a GR colorway, as I mentioned, in July of 2013. And they remind me a lot of the Game Royal Dunks that I picked up in that, you know, there isn't an interesting backstory. It was just a clean colorway on this dunk silhouette. So these are in an all-over suede, and it's in really good condition. There aren't any scuffs or stains or tears or anything. These things are pretty pristine. And I want to be upfront too, I haven't had a chance to clean these up, and really there's not a whole lot to clean up. The overall quality of the suede on here is decent. It doesn't have that color changing butteriness to it, which is to be expected because these had a $95 price point back then, and they aren't listed as a premium either. Aside from the box and the paper in here, these were also to come with a white set of laces, but the seller didn't have them, so stuck with these yellow ones. That's fine to me though, because when I wear this shoe, I'm probably going to keep these yellow laces in anyway, and it's not that hard to find a white set of extra laces. Not much else to say about these, just an overall clean summer dunk. Next up in the set, we have this pair of Dunk Highs in the Dark Atomic Teal, Black, and Wolf Gray colorway. So these are often referred to as the Dark Atomic Teals, but people also call them the Newports because of their resemblance to the colors on the box of Newport cigarettes. So that detail aside, I love the color blocking on here. Of the set of 3 dunks that I picked up in this video, I think this one is probably the most wearable, just given the overall muted tones to them. And while I do love this colorway, what I don't love are the materials on here. The materials on here are a combination of leather at these teal parts, with the exception of like this nylon here. It's like a ballistic nylon maybe, and the nubuck at the gray hits. These definitely show the most wear of the 3 pairs, and particularly at the toe, you could definitely see the materials creased and creased in an interesting way. I think that's just the nature of nubuck being at the toe on most sneakers. But again, the times don't do these any justice. 2013, I wouldn't say, is the best time for Nike SB quality. You know, aside from the color too, I love the gum outsoles on here, which again are pretty clean on camera, don't require that much of a clean. So in the box, these were supposed to come laced up in an atomic teal lace and then have a black set of additional ones, but the seller didn't have either of them. The atomic teal is pretty much impossible to find in the aftermarket from, say, like fully laced, but I fortunately did have a set of black SB laces lying around that I threw in, and I think it's a pretty good look. Unlike the previous pair, this pair is definitely a lot more wearable and super clean. And then last of the batch here, we have this one in a more faded box, but it is that same tape box. So this Dunk High is in the Pine-Green-Metallic-Gold, and what is that even last part? I'd have to Google that. Gold-Gorge. But in any case, taking a look at them, you can see the colorway, and you'll know that these are the St. Patty's Day or St. Patrick's Day Dunk Highs. Of the three, this is probably my favorite of the bunch, and for some reason I just love greens like this on sneakers, especially in this bright sort of Kelly green, and I think the gold on here is not overdone. It's a nice accent color. Unlike the other two pairs, these are done up in an all-over green leather, with the exception of more ballistic nylon, I want to say, is at the back heel here. Being in an all-over leather, I think these are great for all elements, whether it's the snow or the rain, or even in the brighter days now in the tail end of summer. What isn't great about these though is the leather quality. I don't know how to describe it, you have to feel them in hand, but they just feel very cheap and of the times. Also, being in an all-over leather, these definitely have a tighter fit. If you watch the videos, you know that I'm always jumping between a 9.5 and a 10 for dunks, and this pair sort of proves that with leather dunks, I should be going up to a 10. So these aren't the first St. Patrick's Day dunks to sort of be in the realm of Nike SB. These are a newer take of the St. Patty's Dunk Low from 2005 in that pink box era. These remind me a lot of a Boston Celtics colorway, kind of like that Air Jordan 1 pair from 2013, or even just the Pine Greens. In the box were to be a second set of darker green laces. Common theme from the seller is that they didn't have the second set of laces for whatever reason. Maybe that's how he bought them. This is more of an occasional shoe. I definitely am going to pull these out during St. Patrick's Day or whenever I have the right sort of neutral fit going and these doing the talking, but a really cool sneaker to have in the collection. So if you break it down, the box price on all three of these back in 2013 was $95. So in theory, I did pay a slight premium. And that 2013 post-blue box era of Nike SB Dunks is what I want to say was the time when they were phasing out of the mainstream. The overall quality across the board was lackluster, whether it was Dunks or any of the Janowski models or any of their inline models. And even the Dunk silhouette at that point was pretty much played out. I know for me personally, I was at the tail end of high school and I wasn't so much focused on sneakers at that point. I had a car to pay for, I had college to worry about, I was trying to get my gentleman menswear game on. So recent sneaker releases just really weren't on my radar. And that sort of just goes with the times too. I remember at the beginning of high school, Nike SBs were hot, and towards the end, nobody was really wearing them so much. So if we fast forward to now in 2020, I know there's going to be a torn crowd of those that think I overpaid and then those that think this was a crazy epic deal. And I just want to play the sides of both. So for the side that thinks I overpaid, I could certainly see why. I paid $300 for 3 different pairs of 7-year-old GR Dunks with super lackluster quality. Additionally, some people may not like these colorways as much as I do. They're sort of undesirable colorways with no prominent backstories, and by no means are they collector pieces. This is more of a quantity over quality play. I think even at one point, all 3 of these pairs probably were sitting on shelves at skate shops back in the day. You fast forward to right now, this is definitely the worst time to be buying Dunks. The dunk hype is at its all-time peak. Maybe this $300 that I paid for today in 2020 will be worth maybe like $200, $150 down the road. I know if I bought these probably back in 2016, I wasn't paying more for $150 for all 3 of these pairs. Also, some smaller tidbitty, nitpicky things. I think a lot of people will be turned away by these because these are highs for whatever reason. A lot of kids right now getting into dunks are really in it for the lows and never really the mids or the highs, which I think is kind of interesting. Also, just the lack of OG extras. So by OG extras, I mean the extra set of laces on these 3. It's kind of like buying a car. People like to buy things modded and some people like to buy things that are all stock. Despite all those nuanced gripes, I think there's a set of people that will think that I got a great deal, myself included. So all 3 of these colorways are pretty clean, and if they came out right now, I'd 100% guarantee that these would be an instant sellout. If you look at any recent release GR Nike SB Dunk in the last 6, 8, 10 months, those things have been flying off shelves. It's nearly impossible now to even get a pair online on any GR. It's all just about who you know or getting lucky on a raffle, and you know, a lot of times these pairs end up being backdoored, which is a shame. Additionally, older dunks like these have oddly been retaining their value. I've been doing my research on all 3 of these pairs, and it's nearly impossible to find them in the condition that I have these 3 pairs in. Again, these pairs are meant to be worn, so my best guess is people probably skated these or beat them to death, throughout the boxes, and then they see the Sun Surge in Nike SB Dunks, pull these out of their closet and sell them for a crazy upcharge. That being said, another point for these being such a great deal is that I know I can make my money back right now. Maybe even profit off them if the buyer is right. I buy a bunch of random dunks because of the random memories I have associated with them, and maybe people think the same thing, that this, say, tropical teal dunk brings them back to a time in the past and they're looking for a pair. An instance like that is pretty rare, so you do have to have them competitively priced and probably listed up for a long time, because I doubt people are going back and typing in the style code for this, or this. And one thing I did want to note too, in my typical sneaker reviews, I'm usually pretty hesitant to share how much I pay for sneakers. One, because it just opens up this rabbit hole and takes away from the actual content, and two, people just need to mind their own business. I'm really big on paying what I think a shoe is worth, and I obviously thought this deal was worth it, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger. And I think that's a great place to leave it for now. So let's chat about in the comments. Was this a steal of a deal? Or was it just a fair or good one? And then on the flip side, do you think it was a terrible deal? I'd love to read all about it and love to interact with you guys. I'll also probably get around to making individual reviews on these pairs. It'll just take a while, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I've already plugged the Instagram as well, so I have nothing left to say here. That pretty much wraps it up for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.